Hi, thank you for using X-Securitas Watermark products. In this video, we will explain the agent logon method. There is a caveat. When the agent logon method policy is changed, the agent must be restarted for the change to take effect. First, for easier explanation, it is assumed that there is a log-off policy and a default policy. Default policy is the policy applied when the agent is logged on. Log-off policy is the policy applied when the agent is logged off. Now, the agent logon method will be explained. First, the Active Directory logon method is explained. This means that in the Active Directory environment, the agent logs on with the AD account information. Select when AD SSO logon is selected, automatically register the user account to the server to automatically acquire department and user information. When using this, AD organization unit information is automatically acquired and used as department information. Let's log on to the AD account on the user's PC. You can see that the watermark is displayed as the default policy. Let's log on with the local account on the user's PC. You can see that the watermark is displayed with the log-off policy. If you look at the Manage Organization/User menu on the policy server, you can see that the OU structure of the user who just logged on is automatically registered. Second, I will explain the SSO logon method. There are additional options when selecting the SSO logon method. In other words, when SSO logs off, whether to apply the policy with the most recent SSO information or whether to apply the log-off policy. In this case, we will select Apply Log-Off Policy so that the agent will apply the log-off policy when SSO is logged off. Select when AD SSO logon is selected, automatically register the user account to the server to automatically acquire department and user information. When using this, SSO information is automatically acquired and used as department information. Let's look at the agent screen. SSO programs may vary from company to company. Therefore, you need to develop a program to send SSO information to the agent. For specification, please refer to the API interface item in the manual. Here, we will use a program called emul-ssologin.exe to simulate SSO. At this time, you are not in SSO logon, so you will see the log-off policy. Enter the SSO department and user information and click the OK button. SSO is now logged on and the log-on policy is displayed. When you log off SSO, the log-off policy is applied. In addition, you can see that the departments and users registered in emul/SSO logon just recently are automatically registered in the department organization of the policy server. Let me explain the anonymous logon policy. It does not require any information about the user. This always applies only to the log-off policy. Let's look at the agent. You can see that the log-off policy is applied when running the agent. Of course, no content is registered in Managed Organization/User in the policy server. I will explain the agent logon by entering ID/password logon method. To use this, you must register department and user information in advance. Departments and users can be registered manually in Manage Organization/User, or you can register in batch using Excel. Here, we will manually register the user 01 user. Now, run Agent on the user's PC. When running the agent, you are prompted to enter the user ID and password. The initial password is the same as the user ID. You can change the initial password after logging on. Now you can see that the logon policy has been applied. If you click the Cancel button on the Agent Logon screen, the Log-Off policy is applied. Of course, you can also log on from the Tray menu. Finally, we will explain the ID and name entered by the user when installing the agent will be used as the logon information. This will register user information for each PC where the agent is installed. In other words, in the same PC, even if another user logs into the PC, the agent always logs on as the user specified in advance. Of course, the user information can be changed later. Let's see how it works in the agent. When the agent is executed for the first time, a registration window is displayed, prompting the user to enter user ID and department information. Users must enter user ID and department information on this window. The registration process is now complete, and after that, you will log on to the agent with this user information. Try restarting the agent. Now you can see that it starts right away without asking for user information. You can also change user information by using the Change User Registration menu. When changing this, a password is required, and the password registered in System Configuration-exit/uninstall password is used. Also, if you look at the Manage Organization/User screen of the policy server, you can see that the department and user information has been updated. Thanks for watching.